Finn's just over there staring at nothing. It's nights like these when Mallet Man comes to mind. Who is Mallet Man, you might ask? I'll tell you. Let's dive in to the urban legend of Mallet Man. And some other beach urban legends as well. Because it is almost Halloween. It is a cloudy and very cold day, and since it's so close to Halloween, I figured now would be a good chance to tell you some South Carolina urban legends. We'll start with the Gray Ghost. Legend has it that in the year of 1822, there was a young couple that were madly in love, and the fiancé, the man, was away at college studying. Well, he decided to come back and visit his lady, and on his way traveling back from Charleston, he and his horse ran into some trouble. They ran into some quicksand during a very bad storm, and they did not survive. When the woman received the news later on that her fiancé had perished, she was understandably very, very grief-stricken. To clear her head, she went for a walk later that week on the beach. While she was walking on the beach, she swore that up ahead in the distance, she saw her fiancé dressed all in gray. As she got closer, even his skin was gray. But that couldn't be him, he was gone. As she got closer, he vanished. Later that night, when she was asleep, she was visited by her fiancé in a dream. In that dream, he warned her that there was going to be a terrible storm that would bring a flood that would wipe out her house and kill her and most of the people in her town. The dream was so vivid, and in the dream he even told her that it was really him. That when she woke up, she was in a panic. She went and she warned her family of her visitation from the night before. Her family thought that she was just grief-stricken and imagining the whole thing. At this point, the woman was becoming hysterical because she truly believed her fiancé's warning from beyond the grave. Concerned for her, her family took her to the hospital that evening. While they were away seeking medical attention, a terrible storm did come through with a great flood that wiped out their house. There was nothing left standing the next day, and a lot of people in town did lose their lives just as the spirit warned her. Legend has it now that in South Carolina, particularly around Pawleys Island is where this took place, that anytime there's about to be a hurricane or a really bad storm or flooding, people have made many eyewitness claims of seeing the Gray Ghost walking on the beach. It is said that if you're walking on the beach and you come across the Gray Ghost, that it's an omen that a flood or a terrible storm is coming and that you are to get out of town while you still can. Over the years, there have been so many people that have claimed to have seen this, and shortly thereafter, storms have come. So many people, a lot of the locals around here swear it's true. And oddly enough, there's actually a flood warning today. Did you see the Gray Ghost, Nate?
I did not.
I haven't either. What if he's out here? We'll see him. Oh no, she wants the bird. We gotta go. Whoa! She's a sighthound. She can't help it. It is very cold. Come on, monkey. Apparently there's also some abandoned island in South Carolina. I think it's called Morgan's Island, where a bunch of monkeys that escaped from laboratory testing now live there, and they're infected with like all kinds of disease and really aggressive, and you're not allowed to go to the island for all of those obvious reasons. So I don't know if that one's true or not. I'll have to do more research, but everything I've read so far seemed to support that claim, but I'll have to look into that some more because I just recently heard about that. So not so much a ghost story, but still pretty creepy. And then once it gets dark at night, I'll also have to tell you the story of the phantom South Carolina ghost dog that walks the roads at night. And then I'll also have to tell you about the old haunted seabird that sails the seas of the Atlantic Ocean. at night looking for revenge. They call him Mallet Man. That was weird.
Like a Mexican taco-y kind of salad. It doesn't look great, but it is. Leftover beets from home from Chelsea's garden. Rainbow carrots left over.
Dr. Zoidberg.
This is going to be crab legs cooked in butter. And we have steaks going on the grill and baked potatoes in the oven.
Where'd you get the potatoes from?
From Chelsea.
And I have a video of when I planted the potatoes and when I dug them up, so check that out if you want to see how to do that. And we're going to have some hot tea because it's freezing out. Now it's time for the story of the white ghost dog of Sumter National Forest. Local legend states that in the 1800s there was a peddler crossing through South Carolina. Often traveling alone, the peddler had a very large white dog as a companion that went everywhere with him on his travels. As he was passing through town, there was a murder that took place, and since he was the only out-of-towner that nobody knew, nobody trusted, naturally they assumed that he was the culprit. The people of the town tried him and found him guilty. They hung the peddler, and all his poor dog could do was watch as they hung a man who turned out to be innocent. Every night thereafter, the mournful dog would hang out at the gallows, howling mournfully every single night, all night long. His mournful cries would keep the people of the town up, and after 2 weeks of nonstop howling all night long, no breaks in between, the people couldn't take it anymore, and the dog was shot. Some people say he was shot out of mercy because he was so depressed and distraught over losing his master. Others say that the townsfolk did it just to get some peace. But whatever their reason was, the dog didn't stay quiet for long. Shortly thereafter, the hangman was riding his horse down Sumter Road at night, when all of a sudden he heard howling off in the distance. The howling drew closer and closer, and before he knew it, a large white dog came from out of the mist, right towards him. It looked identical to the dog that belonged to the peddler. Terrified, the hangman urged his horse to go faster and faster, but somehow the large white dog was keeping pace with it. It was running faster and faster, gaining on them, snarling and barking, howling with each stride. No matter what the man and his horse did, they couldn't escape the dog, and when he looked down at it and made eye contact with it, it looked up at him with a large, toothy grin. But it wasn't a friendly-looking grin. It was one filled with vengeance and malice. About a week or two later, a doctor in town had a similar experience. He was riding his horse through the same road at night when a large white dog manifested from out of the mist. It chased him and his horse as well, and the doctor even reported that it was darting in between the horse's legs, frightening the poor animal. The doctor reached down with his whip and started to whip the dog, trying to get it away from his horse, and to his dismay, the whip went right through the animal. Again, the large white dog looked up with an eerie, toothy grin. As time went on, more and more locals started having very similar experiences and reporting almost identical encounters with a large white dog that manifests on dark, foggy nights, one that has a evil, toothy grin. This earned the dog the nickname the Happy Dog, but he is not happy. He is out for revenge for what happened to his master. And to this day, all these years later, people still from time to time will report having a similar experience on that road at night. It is often said that you'll hear the howling before you see the dog manifest from the mist. It's large like a mastiff, pure white, and it will cast that eerie, toothy grin in your direction. The locals urge you not to go looking for it because it is not a ghost that you want to encounter. It's a very isolated road deep in the dark forest, which is a very easy spot to get lost in. The locals say do not go in that woods and do not go looking for the spirit. Don't taunt it. because it can outrun you and it will keep pace with your vehicle. And if it should cast that toothy grin in your direction, it is a bad omen. It's a vengeful spirit that will chase anyone as it seeks vengeance for what happened to its owner. On cool, dark autumn nights like this, or very, very early on a foggy morning, it is said that you can still hear it howling to this day. And if you hear the howls, don't go looking for it. Just get out of that woods. Now my mother is here, and she is going to tell us the true story of the legendary knob robbers of Myrtle Beach.
So this took place in about 1994, and
I did not exist yet.
So it was 1994, and our oldest daughter Megan was 3, almost 3, and we came down to Surfside Beach on a family vacation with my parents, Mimi and Papa, and my sister Erin and her friend Bronwyn, and then me and my hubby and Megan, and we all stayed at a beach house up in Surfside. Well, it happened to be that a few buildings down was a Holiday Inn, and there was a recent murder at that Surfside Holiday Inn. And in this town, it's a very quiet, sleepy beach town, and there's not much crime, so that kind of shook the community. Well, one night we were out, and when we came back, we noticed that our doorknob to our beach house was very jiggly and loose all of a sudden. And that's when we heard there was something called the knob robbers on the loose in Surfside. And evidently, it was a band of merry men who were making their way through all the beach houses and condos, and they would loosen up doorknobs and try to steal them. And they carried ice picks and screwdrivers and things like that in their pockets so they could easily remove doorknobs. They finally got caught, but before they did, they probably stole 100 to 200 doorknobs. And sometimes when the doorknob would come off, they would gain entry into your house. And when they did, they would goose you. You might be asleep, you might be in the kitchen, they might sneak up on you. With their doorknob in their hand, they would walk up, goose you, and run out the door as fast as you can. And they would sometimes steal your belongings along with the doorknobs. The doorknob was actually their trophy. And they had a whole collection of them. Well, we know that they're sick, twisted individuals. So, thank God they were caught. That was 1994. We came home from our beach vacation with our doorknob intact. And in March.
But legend has it that on dark autumn nights like this, to this day, you may hear your doorknob jingling. You may even see it moving. And if you see that, you better try to secure your belongings. The knob robbers are always lurking. Sick people. Alright, Nathan and I are out here taking a night walk on the beach, and we thought now would be the perfect opportunity to tell you the tale of the legendary, infamous Mallet Man. Now, if you followed this channel from the beginning, one of my earliest videos when we were in Ocean City, it tells the tale of Mallet Man, so go check out the original one.
My shoes are soaked.
Whoops. It's hard to see out here. But anyways, Mallet Man. So mainly he does reside more in the area of Ocean City, but he sails the Atlantic Ocean, which Myrtle Beach happens to be the Atlantic Ocean. So it's not far-fetched to say that he wouldn't make it out here. He's constantly sailing at sea, looking for his revenge from beyond the grave. Mallet Man was an old sea captain. There are a few different things that people say happened to him, but obviously something went amiss. One night, they were sailing, and this is where the story contradicts itself a little bit, or I guess I should say there's some conflicting tales as to how he met his demise. Some say that his crew had a mutiny against him and pushed him overboard, tying an anchor to him so that he could not return to the surface. Others say that there was a terrible storm at night and the ship wrecked and everyone went down with the ship. when Mallet Man, no one knows his real name, but when the ship was going down, it is said that Mallet Man got tangled up in the netting, and that's how the anchor got attached to him, and he drowned and could not come up. So there's some conflicting things there. Pick which one you believe. No one really knows except Mallet Man, of course. But now he is out there sailing the seas looking for his revenge against his crew, or just because he went mad when he went overboard. Like I said, no one really knows. They say that you will smell him before you see him. He smells of Old Bay and crabs. Monkey, it's just water. Look, writing, aliens! Look at this tide pool. Whoa! Anyways, he smells of Old Bay and crabs. You'll smell him first, and then you'll hear him coming before you see him. You'll hear the anchor and the chains dragging against the floor. You'll hear his peg leg tap, tap, tapping as he's walking across the ground.
And he has a net constantly wrapped around him and barnacles and seaweed and stuff.
He leaves a trail of barnacles throughout your beach house or your hotel, wherever you're staying, your camper. Then you'll hear a clanging noise against your balcony as he's climbing up it like a crab. No one's ever gotten close enough and survived to tell the tale of what his face looks like, but legend has it, it looks almost crab-like, with dark, black, beady little eyes and a red, angry face. They say that he often appears on nights when the waves are rough or when a storm is a-brewing. You'll see him lurking in the shadows before he gets you.
He climbs up the balcony with his claws at crazy speeds.
Yes, it is said that his hand is no longer a hand, but a crab claw. He wears a long trench coat and an ominous-looking pirate hat. You'll see his tall, silhouetted figure in the doorways of your beach house, lurking, waiting for his moment to pounce. His weapon of choice
Is a mallet.
and he is not afraid to use that mallet. When he finally reaches you, he'll throw his crabbing net around you, and you'll be tangled, unable to escape. No one really knows what happens next after he claims his victims. Some say he puts you in the net, ties an anchor to you like what happened to himself, and he'll throw you into the ocean so that you can suffer the same fate as he. Others say he eats you. Some say he'll take you onto his ghostly ship late at night and use you as live bait so he can continue to go crabbing and catch all the different sea creatures that he used to catch and sell to make a living. A bit ironic that he's now one with the sea creatures that he hunted. So they say that if you're anywhere near the Atlantic Ocean, lock your doors at night and keep a smell out for the Old Bay and an ear out for the dragging of the anchor, the pinching of the claws, and the tapping of his peg leg. Mallet Man is very angry, and as I said at the beginning, no one knows exactly why. No one knows exactly what happened except for him and perhaps his crew. But whatever it was, it can't be good. The waves are rough tonight. We'll be hearing from him tonight, I'll wager. Crop circles! And look, the remains of someone's sandcastle. The tide has ruined it. When I was a kid, my sister used to always tell me that at night the tide would come up like all the way to the top of the hotel buildings, and that you could look out your window and see all kinds of different like sea creatures swimming by. And every night I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna stay up and see that. And then I would wake up the next morning and be like, oh man, I missed it. I believed that when I was really little. Look, little paw prints. That was another story that my sister told me when we were growing up. She would say that at night the ghost beach dogs would run across the beach and they would basically like eat anyone that was out. And when I was very little, I believed it, and it was terrifying. And I think about it every time I come to the beach. It is pretty spooky out. It's like a whole other world out here at night.
I smell Old Bay. Mallet Man!
Mallet.